Prime Minister Modi invokes deadly Pahalgam attack at the G7 summit. He condemns ghastly Pahalgam attack and also urges to act against global terrorism. Prime Minister Modi said that we must act on those who support terrorism. So Prime Minister Modi reiterated India's stand against terrorism and thanked the leaders for condemning the ghastly Pahalgam terror attack. In fact, he also urged them to galvanize global action against terrorism and underlined the need to take strict action against those who promote and support terrorism. So that's a big update that's coming in. Prime Minister Modi invoked the deadly Pahalgam attack at the G7 summit and he also condemned it and urged the global leaders to act against terrorism. In fact, he also stated that action must be taken against those who support terrorism. India Today Global's Pranay Upadhyay is now with us with more on this. Pranay, Prime Minister Modi has reiterated India's strong stand against terrorism and that there is absolutely zero tolerance. In fact, he also urged the world leaders to condemn and take action against those who promote and support terrorism.
Absolutely, Prime Minister Narendra Modi did raise the issue of terrorism. Again, he highlighted as a part of the voice of Global South as well, because terrorism, which is largely being faced by the Global South countries, and India has been victim of cross-border terrorism. Prime Minister Narendra Modi did raise the issue of Pahalgam terror attack and said those who perpetrate the act of terror, those who harbor terrorists, need to be punished. They need to be called out and they need to be isolated. In his address into G7 outreach session in Canada, Prime Minister Narendra Modi also called the attention of the Global South and concern in their priorities. He also said that India has been raising the issue of terrorism and in the context of the Pahalgam terror attack, he also urged the global community, especially the G7 countries, to galvanize the global action against terrorism. You would recall, Anjali, that India is the only country which has been calling upon the global community, calling upon the world leaders to have a comprehensive convention against terrorism for last 30 years. So this is clearly a consistent point when India has been making, that why world should pay attention to what India is saying, and whenever the global community did not heed to India's India's demand or India's viewpoint, then they have suffered, because world has witnessed many ghastly terror attacks, including 9/11, 26/11, and many other terror incidents across the world in the European countries as well. And that's why the G7 grouping, which is largely being consisted by the Western Bloc, the countries of European origin. So these countries, Prime Minister Narendra Modi got an opportunity to have one-on-one meeting with many leaders like Keir Starmer, the UK Prime Minister, French President Emmanuel Macron, the Canadian Prime Minister, who was also the host of this G7 summit. Prime Minister had one-on-one meeting with all these leaders. There also, he made it a point that for any economic growth, it is important to have a terror-free world.
Absolutely, Pranay. So strong message made by Prime Minister Modi at the G7 summit against terrorism, and that action must be taken against those who support and promote it. But Pranay, it is also pertinent to note that this statement comes at a very crucial juncture. Prime Minister Modi has batted for global peace, and we're already seeing that there are so many conflicts that are going on across the globe.
Absolutely, Anjali, you are right. Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke at a point when the world is going through intensified conflict in West Asia region. The world is already in pressure due to the global economy is facing the challenges posed by the Russia-Ukraine war, which is on since over last 3 years, the Israel-Hamas conflict, and now the intensified conflict between Israel and Iran. Prime Minister Narendra Modi did talk about the world peace as well, and there he said that the peace and diplomacy should be given a chance, and for that, the effort should be made to have dialogue, because dialogue and diplomacy is the only way forward. Without naming Pakistan, he did mention that the issue of Pahalgam terror attack and how those who harbor terrorists, those who promote terrorism as a policy of as a tool of foreign policy, they need to be isolated. They need to be called upon. So this was the crux of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's speech during the outreach session. But he also had, as I mentioned, the one-on-one meeting with the global leaders, including the president or the new president of South Korea, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, the French president, and also the German Chancellor Friedrich Merz.